Welcome to How to Survive with Danielle and Kristine, the show that teaches you how to survive the things that could kill you.
Like bomb cyclones, snake bites. How about going on strike?
Oh, yeah. Or the things that just make you wish you were dead.
Embarrassing your kids much? Danielle?
Yes.
Slippy boots.
Yep.
How about getting sloppy drunk?
Done, done, done. Check, check, check.
I'm going to do all that in one day.
I'm going to do all that to the tune of our song.
Let's play it.
Let's do it.
Ground is shaking under our feet. Mountains on fire, flooding in the street. Can't breathe the air, can't fight the feeling. Gobbling down Xanax ain't the way to be dealing. Gotta do better than just getting high. We gotta stick together if we're gonna survive. How to survive. How to survive.
Welcome to How to Survive with Danielle and Kristine. I'm Danielle.
Hi.
What? What happened? Did you forget your name? Oh, shit. Was your resolution to forget your name?
I am forgetting a lot of things.
What happened?
I don't know. I just felt happy to be here.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Delighted.
Well, tell them who you are.
I'm Kristine. Hey, everybody. In case you're a new listener.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of that last year. Let's embrace. I'm excited about 2023.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
I sure hope so.
Let's do it.
Did you have a nice break? We took last week off.
Yes.
What did you do? Did you do anything?
So many things.
You did?
I don't even know where to begin, Danielle.
Is that you stalling for time because you don't remember what you did?
No, I actually remember. I did do some fun things. Listen to this.
Okay, listening.
I went ice skating.
Wow, okay.
I went roller skating.
Whoa.
I went on a 3-mile hike. It was
Nice.
supposed to be 2.5 miles, but we got lost.
Did you remain calm?
I did.
Good.
I did. We all remained calm. We saw a family of coyotes.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was great.
Was this, you went with your family?
Yes. And nobody freaked out or had a meltdown.
That's amazing.
That was great. I was really happy about that. Except at one point, Sally got a little too, she didn't remain calm. We were going down this steep, mountainside. And Sven kind of had to carry her like a purse. He had to like...
She's a gigantic dog.
She's like 50 pounds. And it was so steep that we were kind of walking sideways so we wouldn't slide and fall. And so, she'll pull you.
Yes.
She gets even though she's 11, she thinks she's a puppy and she's very pulley on a leash. So he had to hold her by her harness with her front legs kind of hanging off the ground. So she couldn't pull him down.
Wow.
She's so strong.
I'm impressed with Sven's his strength.
Well, he was
Sounds like a lot.
He was like, it's her or me.
Yeah,
or my
right.
ankles.
Good point.
Just like falling sideways.
And we know that if he did hurt his ankles, he wouldn't do anything about it. So
no, they would just
be sideways for the rest of his life.
They would get the size of grapefruits.
Right.
And then he'd be like, I took 2 Advil. I'm not doing any. This is
I
fine.
put some peroxide on it. I'm sure it's fine.
That's exactly what would happen. So yeah, those were all the exciting. Oh, and we did like a culinary journey of Los Angeles. We ate all these kind of crazy. We went and had Cuban food.
Okay.
We went and had shabu shabu.
I don't know what that is. Is that some sort of Japanese thing?
I think it is Japanese. It may also be called hot pot, but that might also be a totally different thing. And
is it like a hot pocket?
It's slightly different.
Okay.
They bring a big pot to your table. There's like an oven. I always get oven and stove confused.
Yeah.
But the one that's a hot,
Stove top
on your table. They bring a pot.
Yeah.
You can pick out your broth. And then they bring different items that you order and you cook it all.
Yeah.
And it's just all different
more
veggies.
Just do-it-yourself sort of economy.
Yeah, they're like, you
pack your own bags, cook your own food.
Yes.
At the restaurant.
And where else do we go? Indian food.
Okay.
We're still going to go to Little Ethiopia, though. That's not too
it's
far.
near me, yeah.
Going to have some...
I like Ethiopian food a lot.
I do, too. I love that injera bread.
See, I was going to say, I don't really care for the spongy bread.
That's my favorite.
Have you ever had Ethiopian food?
No.
It's very vegetarian friendly.
Yes.
And it's the kind of stuff I like, kind of just like wholesome, earthy, kind of like
Lots of
not
beans.
bland, but it's just earthy. I
Got
like it
some
a lot.
spices.
Yeah.
Lots of veggies.
Yeah, I took Oliver there once when he was little. I had a Groupon. It's like we're exploring the culture of Los Angeles through Groupons.
Via Groupon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what about you?
Okay, so we went to Palm Springs and
You were sweating.
okay, in my defense, we had gone to Palm Springs once before in the winter and it was very hot.
It can be.
So I just assumed it was going to be hot. And a couple of days before I looked at the weather and I was like, oh yeah, dumb shit, it's going to be really cold.
Well, we didn't know there was going to be storm
Right.
apocalypse.
Right.
We're in the middle of, Californians. We have a lot of a lot of Californians listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who aren't in California also are dealing with rain. It's
Yeah.
very
It
rainy
was-
and cold
right.
right now.
So I remembered that they had the Palm Springs aerial tramway,
Yes.
which is a 10-minute tram that takes you up into the mountains. And there's actual snow.
Yeah, we've
and
done
it's really
that.
cool. I did it once with Oliver when he was little, and my friend Chantal and her
Did you have a
kids.
Groupon?
The Groupon was for the exact same amount that it costs.
Oh,
Yeah. So yes, I did look it up. So we went, and it was so beautiful. But I was wearing boots because I thought, well, if it's snowy, I don't
Yeah.
want to get my tennis shoes wet. But these boots I'm wearing, they don't have a lot of traction. So
They're like fashion boots.
well, they're the ones I'm wearing right now. I guess so. I had snow boots and I didn't bring them. It's stupid. Anyway.
Were they not made for walking?
They were not made for walking. You know what they're making for? They're made for slipping.
Yes.
So I got air, like a cartoon character.
No.
I slipped up in the air and crash landed on my hip. I'm fine. I'm totally fine. And my shoulder.
Except you will need a new hip.
Right. And then I did it again.
No.
On my butt. Yeah.
Oh.
But it was really beautiful and really fun. But we had a couple of funny moments where we kept driving into Palm Springs. We weren't that far, but we were just far enough that you had to drive. So we drove and we would charge the car and we kept passing this restaurant every day called Bill's Pizza. And it was really busy. And we're like,
Yeah.
well, it must be really good. But we just kept going to other places. And then for New Year's Eve, we knew we were going out for dinner. So we'll just get a slice. That'll be perfect
Yes.
for lunch. We'll just get a slice. We'll go to Bill's Pizza. So we go to Bill's Pizza. It's a fucking nightmare. You seat yourself, but then they don't know you're there. So
This feels like
a
most
grab bag.
Palm Springs dining
it?
experiences. I don't know. It just feels like that's often the case.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, you're right. So it was sort of a grab bag of like, what waiter are you going to get? Or are they going to acknowledge that you just sat down?
Yeah.
I completely humiliated my son because there was a guy sitting next to us. I think he was German or he was some European guy. And he had two sons who were constantly on their phones. And I felt really bad for him because he's trying to connect with his two asshole teenage sons
Yes.
and they're on their phones.
Yeah.
Then one goes to charge his phone in the car and like never fucking comes back. I swear to God. So he was never waited on. So I told the waiter, I go, I don't think that guy's been waited on yet. And Oliver was humiliated, but the guy didn't even know I said it. I was just like, I couldn't believe how sloppy this whole production was. So it took forever. And there's a thing where you can order the slice that's on the menu, meaning that would take less time because it's already prepared. It's because they sell slices
Yes.
at the counter.
Yes.
Like it would have been a lot shorter if we had just ordered slices at the counter and then found a seat. So we ordered exactly what was on the menu so we wouldn't, okay, so it's taking for fucking ever. So we tell our waiter, like, we haven't been served. So he comes and he brings an extra slice of cheese pizza because he tore one of the slices. So he goes, okay, well, here's an extra piece. And we're like, okay. And then because it was later, he gave us another slice of cheese pizza.
You're like,
We don't need all these slices.
Stop
We couldn't
bringing
eat
me
it. So,
pizza.
So then we're trying to offer them to the German guy
who's never gotten
who's
any
never been.
food.
And he was like, no, we ordered. And I'm like, yeah, we know you ordered, but we thought you might want a free piece of pizza while you're waiting.
Yeah.
Anyway, then later we hear we hear in the background, I guess we're getting ready to leave, all out of cheese slices. We're like, it's because we took them all. We had all the cheese slices. Okay, so this woman comes in with a group.
Yes.
And they're in their like 60s, early 60s, and they seem hip enough and everything. This woman comes in. They sit right next to us. We're in the like half an hour process of leaving. And And she says to the waiter, do you have liquor? And he says, no, we have, beer and wine. Okay. What do you have? So he names all the beer and all the wine. She refuses to read the menu. I don't know why. So then she says, okay, I will have a cold Miller Lite and a cold glass. And he goes, okay. And then she goes, okay, now, what about for food? She's just not going to read the menu.
That's hilarious.
And she's in a whole party of people who could have helped her.
Yes.
So the guy had to tell her everything they had on the menu. Except for 2 slices. No slices of cheese.
What
the
is
Pardos took
just
them all.
going through a day with her?
I don't. It must be exhausting, right? She can't do jack shit. It was hilarious. But we had a nice time. Yeah, it was nice. It was cold, but it was nice.
It's just nice to get away.
Yeah, we stayed at somewhere called. This is my fault, but we stayed at a place called Margaritaville. Now, okay, here's the thing. I wanted to stay in Palm Springs proper this time, and not on the outskirts.
Okay.
It wasn't as obnoxiously themed as it could have been. I mean, there were inspirational lyrics on the walls.
Jimmy Buffett owns the place?
I guess.
Okay.
Because
I've heard of this place.
you have? Okay.
Yeah, he
and
does.
it looks nice.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, it looks nice.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of problems. But at one point Jimmy said,
I'm imagining the crowd.
yeah. Well, we didn't really see that much of the crowd because it was freezing.
Yeah, nobody's out in the pool.
Right. There was no ball for the ping pong table, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There were literally no drawers in the rooms. No drawers to put your clothes away.
Wow.
Because I guess that's just the beach life. Live out of your bag.
Wait, was it just empty holes in the dresser things, or just
No
no
dressers.
Wow.
No dressers. It was really strange. It was, yeah. So, anyway. So, yeah, as soon as we got there, the guy who was checking us in, Jimmy was in the car and I went to go check us in. And I said, we're here. Da, da, da. And he goes, okay, well, hold on. And he runs away. And he comes back and he's like, I gotta find a clean room.
Jeez.
Now, check-in was at 4. We were there at 5:30.
Yeah.
So I go, this is how I said it. I go, is there a problem? That's how I said it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to find you a clean room. That's what I'm working on.
Wow.
So it's one of those moments where you're like, do I tell him he's being a total asshole? Do I just let this play out in the calmest way possible? So I just let it play out in the calmest way possible. But it was so fucking weird. I mean, he came at me like anyway, we complained at the end, and the guy we complained to was like, oh, I know who that is. So apparently it wasn't just me. He was just
he's wasting away in Margaritaville.
In Margaritaville, that's right. Maybe that he was looking for a clean room and his lost shaker of salt.
Yeah.
Both of those
and
things.
It was too many things.
Too many things on his checklist.
Well, you know what? Don't go back to Margaritaville, maybe.
No, it was... I'm sure it would be nice if... And then when Jimmy checked out, he was like, and what about the drawers? And the guy was like, I know, we keep telling them. How is that? How do you even design a hotel room without drawers? And the rooms weren't cramped. It was a nice size room.
Yeah.
Plenty of room for drawers.
It
was so fucking weird. No drawers in the bathroom, no drawers in the room. We had a suite for Oliver no drawers. There was one drawer in that room, but Oliver doesn't put clothes away, so
he doesn't need drawers.
Why
would you need drawers when there's a perfectly good floor?
Right. Are we ready to get into our topic today?
I would love to.
Okay. We are going to learn how to survive a strike.
Ooh.
Labor strike.
Feel like I've experienced things like
yes,
adjacent to this.
Unfortunately, for those who lose out on work as a result of an impending strike, the usual rules for unemployment don't always apply.
Oh, yeah.
New York is the only state in the country that provides striking workers unemployment benefits. I had no idea.
That doesn't seem fair.
According to Scott Stratton, a certified financial planner and founder of the Good Life Wealth Management and Investment Advisory firm in Dallas. Here are some steps to take to get your finances in order before and during a strike. Because sometimes you guys arrange it, it's going to happen.
It's usually talked about.
It's usually talked about
for quite a long time before it actually happens.
Yeah, because you're at the bargaining table. Keep in contact with your union. Some unions will provide members special benefits in the case of a strike. In some cases, unions will give strikers a little bit of money, perhaps $300 a week, to cover basic needs, said Leon Lebrec, chief executive of LJPR Financial Advisors in Troy, Michigan, and a certified financial planner who has worked with organized labor for more than 30 years. But union-based support doesn't have to be formalized either. Get a support group of others affected by the strike. Consider group dinners, lunches, picnics, and overall support.
I don't want to spend that much time with those people. I mean,
Yeah, even if you're in the common cause, you're like, I'm good.
We have to like work together, and I barely want to have lunch with them.
Right.
Like maybe once a week we can have lunch together at the same restaurant. But like,
Yeah, but not
I'm not
on
going,
your own time.
No, that's no thanks. I'll just not strike.
Maybe you just don't want to eat that week.
Yeah, I can go without.
Just sleep through it.
I could. Yeah, I'd prefer sleeping.
Make sure your credit is in order.
Problems.
Ding, 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 ding. During a strike or any financial emergency, a loan can help strikers afloat while they go without income. But a bad credit score will make getting a loan, particularly one with lower interest, more difficult. You want to know if borrowing is in or out. Plus, a credit check can prevent the pitfalls that can come about from opening up too many credit lines.
Sure.
Build up a war chest for emergencies. It may be too late for this strike, but create an emergency fund for the next one. The usual rule of thumb, I don't know who can do this. Set aside between 3 and 6 months worth of expenses.
Oh, yeah. This all
How
sounds...
can people do that?
No, I mean, the thing is, like, most people who I think are going to need to go on strike are not in financial situations to do this because they are already in a situation financially that's precarious. They're not... Their credit might not be... They might not have credit.
Right.
It might not be good because they've had to borrow to stay afloat. Right?
You're going to like this next sentence then. Ready?
Great. I can't wait.
But in highly competitive fields like film and television, put away a year's worth of expenses.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I mean, this works if you are a writer on The Simpsons.
And or Modern Family or something staff
like
show.
that.
But
where,
like when you're like we were, which is like, I work for 6 months and then I'm unemployed for a year and a half maybe. Or then I work for 2 weeks and then I'm off. And
I mean, I think... If you have a spouse who also works full time, maybe you could do half of this. You know, maybe you could. It's still a good idea. Maybe you could do part of it if you are in a, if you work for Starbucks, for instance. And you're probably going to at some point strike. Well, they don't have a union, so I guess some of them are unionized, but very few.
Well, I think that there's a lot of this is unrealistic. For many, many people who go on strike. But like it's not that it's bad advice. I just don't know how realistic it is for a lot of people who are living on the margins of, Oh,
but this is interesting. This fund should take precedence over savings for retirement, especially when you consider how little most Americans have in savings. You need the cash flow to support yourself, but also to market yourself. So in other words, if you do set aside money for retirement, make that pronto, this is what you need right now. Reevaluate your options for low interest loans. Reevaluating your credit card strategy is important in the lead up to a strike. Those who would be affected by a walkout like this should consider increasing the credit limits on their credit cards and a 0% interest credit card. How do you get a 0% interest credit card?
Well, you have to have good credit.
Yeah. But how does the credit card company make any money off of you if it's a 0% interest credit card?
Well, it doesn't stay 0% forever.
Oh, it's just like an introductory thing?
It's an introductory thing that changes usually, but...
Low interest credit cards can provide a much needed injection of liquidity during a financial crisis. If possible, this I do think is good. If possible, consolidate any high interest credit card debt into the 0% interest products to avoid accruing too much interest at a time when it can't be paid off easily.
Yes.
So switch everything. These are things you can do.
Yes.
So
you can do that even if you're not going to go on strike.
Do not cancel your current credit cards. Just put them in a safe place. Closing credit cards will temporarily ding your credit rating.
Yes. That's good advice for all the time.
Yes. Do not use your credit cards at all if possible. Paying by cash will help you monitor the cash that is reducing your net worth. I mean, I don't know about you. I've been to a lot of places lately that don't accept cash.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've had that experience.
Oh, you haven't?
I haven't.
Yeah, it's
But I'm
weird.
ne-
You feel like you feel so old.
I never have cash anyway.
I don't either, but the couple times I have and they don't, it's like, yeah, no, we don't. It just kind of blows my mind a little bit. Create a budget and make cuts early. Weeding out the priorities, rent, groceries, health insurance, etc. can help. It's important to go into preservation mode quickly in a situation like a walkout or layoff, since future income is up in the air. The painful truth is that if you're going to have to make some cuts, you want to make them as soon as possible. Creating a budget is also a good time to explore alternative options, such as going on a spouse's health insurance. Strikes are considered qualifying events when outside the open enrollment time frame. So if you go on strike and you're not supposed to enroll, it's an exception. You can,
Got it.
Yeah, so that's a good idea.
That's really good to know.
Yeah. Determine what bills are due and when. For things like credit card bills and student loans, explore the repayment options. In some cases, the lack of income during a strike could qualify individuals for income-based repayment plans.
Okay.
So if you call up, you can perhaps
Defer,
negotiate.
maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't touch your retirement savings. If you have money in a retirement account, you're already doing something right, given that 80% of Americans don't know how much they'll need for retirement. Withdrawing funds directly from the retirement account isn't a great decision, though. Besides putting their future financial state in jeopardy, people who pull funds from their 401k or IRA before they hit the right age will incur a 10% penalty and face taxes on these distributions.
You don't want to do that. I did that.
Did you?
Yeah, well, in my early 20s, like when
You
I
had
first
to.
moved out here, my early 20s, not my early 20s, my late 20s, and I had this 401k money from a job back in Ohio, and I didn't have any money, and I was like, well, I have this money, and I need to live, but like, I couldn't find a job, and it was kind of like, I got to pay rent, and it was a safety net, but now I'm like, oh God, I wish I still had that retirement money in the...
Yeah, but what are you going to do?
No,
I mean,
you can't beat yourself up, but it's still just like...
Right.
Guys, I live in regret.
Happy New Year. Taking money out of a Roth IRA is a potentially better option since no penalties or taxes are incurred if an individual only draws on what they put into the account. Though they will incur these losses if they withdraw funds that were accrued through interest. But doing this comes with opportunity costs, including losing out on the compounded interest the money would otherwise be generating. A 401k loan is yet another option, but it's rated a third-level choice. Why? You do not have to pay the interest when you pay yourself back, which you do. Sorry. Why? You do have to pay the interest when you pay yourself back, which I don't like.
No, I don't like it either.
If you think you will be late on your rent, tell your landlord and make arrangements. Maybe you can pay a partial payment this month and the balance when the strike is over. If you have a mortgage payment that is going to be late, call your bank immediately. Don't wait for late notices and foreclosure notices. They will work with you. It is very costly for them to initiate foreclosure procedures. If you have a mortgage that allows you an option to pay interest only, then you may want to do that until the strike is over. Wait as long as you can to pay your bills without being late. For example, most auto insurance premiums can be broken into multiple payments. If you have a personal service corporation, what is a personal service corporation?
Something someone who's going to go on strike probably doesn't have access to.
No, it sounds like a jerk-off company, a personal service corporation.
Yeah, that doesn't...
That's like a female body inspector hat, FBI, personal service inspection.
I think that's exactly what it is.
If you have a personal service corporation...
This sounds like something that only Elon Musk has.
...that is scheduled to pay a bonus to you by the end of the year... I guess it just means your own.
Maybe it's your own.
You're incorporated.
Employed.
Yeah.
Right, you're incorporated.
Consult your business manager. Your business manager.
How are you going on strike if you're in business with yourself?
Without reducing your whole.
I need better working conditions.
Well, actors and writers might be incorporated.
That's true.
And they go on strike. I don't know.
That's true. I don't know.
It will increase your net paycheck instead of overpaying taxes to the IRS. Also, make sure you are reimbursed by the corporation for all business expenses that you incurred personally. If your spouse works, consult your tax professional about reducing his or her tax withholding. You know how you can change it and get more money for paycheck. You can usually switch that anytime you want, I think.
I don't
know why I don't think you'd have to talk to your tax professional. I think you can just talk to HR at your company and say you want to change your withholdings.
Assuming your company has HR and you're...
Well, you know,
Yeah.
or not HR, then whoever. I mean,
Yeah.
whoever deals with accounting in your
Yes.
company. I'm pretty sure that's a thing that you can just change. I know I've done that.
Yes.
Okay. You sourcing effectively the resources. Using resources effectively. If there's enough advance, I hope those two little shits thank their dad for taking them to Palm Springs. I'm just thinking about those little assholes.
No, they probably complained the whole time.
I thought
I don't want to go to Palm Springs. Why
Yeah.
are we going to Palm Springs? That's
Okay.
boring.
Do they have service out there? They have Wi-Fi?
Why didn't we get a pool? Thought we were
I
getting a
forgot
place with a
something else
pool.
that I totally forgot about when we were hiking
Yes.
in the slippy slips.
Yes.
We saw this couple from Ireland, and there was this beautiful place you could take a picture. So we asked, or someone else took our picture, and then we said we would take their picture. This couple, and of course, I'm such a hick. Like as soon as I hear the Irish accent, I'm like, just thought I should name every. I didn't, but I was like Sharon Horgan. Like I just felt I should say everyone.
I know somebody from Ireland.
Yeah, I mean,
I saw them on TV.
Stupid, but anyway, then we caught up with them again, and we were just kind of right behind them, behind a rock.
Yeah.
And I saw her hugging him and smiling, and I was like, "Holy shit, he just proposed!" So we got to like hightail it out of here because we didn't want to ruin their moment.
Yeah.
So
I thought you were going to say he's going to kill her.
or that. Well, Jimmy was making that joke about, okay, remember, we're at notch 3, so if this couple goes missing,
That's
we
my
can tell them.
immediate thought. You're like, he's proposed.
Totally.
And I'm like, he's going to kill her.
He's going to kill her. So then we ran up into them later, and I
Yes.
said, are congratulations in order? And he was like, how did you know that? And I said, well, we didn't see the proposal, but we saw her hug you and her expression, and so we assumed. So it was very cute. And it was nice. We got to be there
That's
for
nice
that.
that you got to see someone else's extraordinary moment.
It was really cute. But I also was like, I don't want to ruin this. It's ugly Americans ruining their...
You would have made it
Sharon
better.
Horgan! And then I was just trying to think of all these people on Taskmaster, because there's always Irish people.
Do you like Bad Sisters?
I know,
Is that reflective
that's
of where you're from?
Honest to God, when I was...
I watched it.
Okay.
I went back.
Okay.
And I'm glad I did. I thought it was great.
It's really good, right?
I loved it.
Yeah.
However,
Yes.
can I just say,
Yeah.
the entire storyline with the brothers, the insurance guy and
Yes.
his brother, I was like, I don't need this.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
it wasn't as interesting when it was about them. That's true.
I get that they need it to have a reason to tell the
Right.
story as a device.
They definitely did, yeah.
You got to have a device, but as
Yeah.
a device, I was like,
You didn't care about
I
them.
don't care, and I find him incredibly irritating.
The white guy or the...
Yes, the
yeah.
white guy. Like, and
Yeah, well, he was... he made me anxious.
he was supposed to, I
Yes,
think, and I
yes,
get
yes.
that, but I just was like, I just want to get back to the sisters.
Yeah.
They're so interesting, and
It was
like
very interesting.
every character is really fascinating, and they're all great actresses, and I
Oh, my
really,
gosh.
I loved every one of them.
How they just made him worse and worse with every episode. You're like, how could this guy be worse?
I just and just like how they kept failing, like
I know, it was so funny.
it was really good. So
I have a problem with the last episode, but I don't want to ruin it for anyone who hasn't seen it. So I will talk to you off air about it.
okay, great.
One problem which is hard for me to get past. But
I can't wait to hear what it is.
okay, using resources effectively. If there's enough advance warning, consider taking care of major medical needs while your health insurance is in force. I thought that was really smart.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
Take stock of friends, family members, community services, and family members, and other resources that could help in an emergency. Colin Farrell? Talk to your financial planner to understand which of your financial assets should be liquidated first if it becomes necessary to sell. Isherin? What was that movie?
Banshees of
Banshees of Isherin.
Did you
Were
watch
they
that?
Irish?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Was it good?
It's really good and extremely depressing. Like just no going in,
I don't need that right now.
but really good. Like
Okay.
you're like, oh right, Colin Farrell is a very good actor.
He
He's
is.
not just nice on the eyes.
so nice.
It's really good.
I think I'm going to watch Tar first.
I really like Tar also.
Yeah.
I really like Tar.
Oh, I saw Glass Onion.
Okay.
We watched it with the kids.
Oh, do they like it?
Yeah. You know, because
Yeah.
they don't see a lot of like movies for adults.
Yeah. So they thought they were cool.
They were like, oh, we're watching a movie,
Aw.
you know. I was
Yeah.
not impressed.
It's not nearly as good as Knives Out.
Agree.
It was sort of, it's fine.
fine.
I was kind of bored.
Yeah,
a little
I
bit.
was too. I was like, this feels, first of all, I don't believe any of these people would actually be friends for a second.
Even with the, oh, you mean to begin with, because
begin-
they're
like-
friends to begin with. I see what
I
you're
just
saying.
didn't buy it. Like,
Okay.
I just didn't buy any of them as friends. I felt like there was no, like, everybody's unlikable.
Yeah.
To a degree where I'm like, I don't want to spend time with any of these people.
Right.
There's no sort of, to me, there just wasn't a lot of fun in that movie. It just felt very fake and
Yeah. They tried for fun.
they did.
They
but
tried.
I did not feel
Did you see it?
I did.
And
I liked it.
you liked it?
Yeah.
Did you think it was as good as Knives Out, though?
I think Knives Out, I think it was probably better, but this one was sillier. It was more like Clue. Like, I've heard people comparing it to Clue.
Clue is so bad. Karen, we can't have this discussion again. It's we haven't had it again. You have it on. You talk about it on Never Not Funny, and I scream at you through my earphones. What striking workers often overlook is the opportunity a strike provides to explore neglected interests and life goals. In the event of a strike, use time away from your job productively. Invest your time in home improvement and self-study. Or turn your favorite hobby into an alternative source of income. Now, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
For people who are skilled at things.
Yeah.
If you can make soap or candles, do it.
Maybe knit some scarves and sell them on Etsy.
Yes. Plan your use of discretionary time as carefully as you would plan your use of discretionary income. You might find that a strike is not a disaster, but a great opportunity to reconnect with your family and other meaningful aspects of your personal life.
Yeah, look how good like COVID worked out for everyone. We all used that time so well.
But if you're on strike, aren't you usually on the
with
picket line?
yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe not 8 hours a day, but some people are.
Yeah.
The object should be to emerge on the other side of the strike stronger, more stable, and happier than before. Okay. Do you want a story of the strike that shook America?
That's the only story I want, Danielle.
Okay. The power looms that thundered inside the cotton weaving room of the Everett Mill in Lawrence, Massachusetts, suddenly fell silent on January 11th, 1912.
Ooh, that was the year the Titanic sunk,
Was it?
I think.
I thought it was 14, but
I don't know. I just went to the exhibit. You'd think I'd remember from like
I could be wrong.
6
I could
days
totally
ago.
be wrong. Do they have good food there?
No.
No? Bad food on the Titanic?
There was no food
Oh.
at the exhibit.
When a mill official demanded to know why workers, this is like sepia times. People lived in sepia
Oh, yeah,
back then.
yeah.
When a mill official demanded, that was part of what they were striking for, was color.
Yeah.
They wanted,
well, they got it.
They got
Look
it.
at us now.
When a mill official demanded to know why workers were standing motionless next to their machines, the explanation was simple: not enough pay.
Oh, that's a good explanation.
The workers who had opened their pay envelopes that afternoon discovered their weekly wages had been reduced by 32 cents. Of course, in 1912, that's a lot.
Yeah. To zero, probably.
Yeah. A newly enacted Massachusetts... Good one. Zero, probably. A new... Sick burn, Chris.
I know how to get those zingers in.
A newly enacted Massachusetts law had reduced the work week of women and children from 56 to 54 hours. Yay!
Oh, boy.
But mill owners, unlike in the past, cut workers' wages proportionately.
Jeez.
For workers who only averaged $8.76 per week, $8.76 per week, every penny was precious, and 32 cents made the difference between eating a meal or going hungry.
Jeez Louise.
Did you say women and children?
Yeah. Yes. The work week of women and children was reduced from 56 to 54 hours. Like,
Wow.
How are that? Okay. Word of the strike by the women of the Everett Mill swept. So this is women working there. Word of the strike by the women of the Everett Mill swept through Lawrence's squalid tenements that night, and the following morning the walkout cascaded through neighboring mills. Even above the loom's deafening din, the shouts of strikers could be heard. Short pay, all out, all out. In spite of Arctic temperatures, bad blood boiled over. Knife-wielding strikers overwhelmed security gates and slashed machine belts, threads, and cloth. I know.
They are not messing around.
Not at all. This is day one.
Wow. You don't want day two.
There's no even sit-in. It's just
oh my God, I love these women.
I know. It's pretty impressive. They tore bobbins and shuttles off machines. Through the falling snow, rioting workers shattered windows with bricks and ice, and police beat them back with billy clubs. By the end of January 12th, so this is one day later, more than 10,000 workers were out on strike.
Good for them.
Their numbers swelled the following week. Thousands of strikers, their numb feet crunching on the snow, chanted and sang protest songs as they paraded through the streets. Lines of state militiamen protected the massive brick mills with the spears of their bayonets pointed squarely at the picket line of strikers who protested outside. But on the side, they came up with ways to make extra income, like prostituting themselves. And,
probably. They had to.
Yeah. Women didn't shy away from the protests. They delivered fiery rally speeches and marched in picket lines and parades. The banners they carried demanding both living wages and dignity, "We want bread and roses too," gave the work stoppage its name, the Bread and Roses Strike.
Oh, wow.
Lawrence, known as Immigrant City, was a true American melting pot with residents from 51 nations wedged into 7 square miles. Although strikers lacked a common culture and language, they remained united in a common cause. The social networks of the day, soup kitchens, ethnic organizations, community halls, stitched the patchwork of strikers together. See, when you talk about America and proud of being an American, and what's great with it, this to me is what is great about our country. This is what makes me feel patriotic. Is
Yes.
people coming together and fighting for themselves and fighting for each other. This is the stuff that gets me. My colors don't bleed. I don't know.
She's proud to be American.
No. And what I was going to say about the hotel is at one point Jimmy said, "Doesn't it seem like all the music should be what's his
Jimmy Buffett?
Jimmy Buffett?"
Yeah.
And we were like, "Would you prefer that?"
Yeah, that's a
That
punishment.
sounds like a nightmare. Once the news of the walkout went viral in newspapers around the country, American laborers took up collections for the strikers, and local farmers arrived with food donations.
I love that.
Mill owners and city leaders hired men to foment trouble and even planted dynamite in an attempt to discredit strikers. This still goes on, like making it look like the people on strike are causing the havoc, which they were. I mean, they were throwing rocks and stuff at the windows. But Lawrence's simmering cauldron finally bubbled over on January 29th when a mob of strikers attacked a streetcar carrying workers who didn't honor the picket line. Scabs, we call them. That afternoon, as police battled strikers, an errant gunshot struck and killed Anna Lopizzo. The following day, 18-year-old John Ramey died after being stabbed in the shoulder by a soldier's bayonet.
Wow.
With the city on a hair trigger, striking families sent 119 of their children out of harm's way to Manhattan on February 10th to live with relatives, or in some cases, complete strangers, who could provide food and safe shelter. A cheering crowd of 5,000 greeted the children at Grand Central Terminal, and after a second train load arrived from Lawrence the following week, the children paraded down Fifth Avenue. The children's exodus proved to be a publicity coup for the strikers, and Lawrence authorities intended to halt it. So there's some really cool pictures, old pictures of these little kids.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we'll put them
in New York.
We'll put them in the newsletter.
When families brought another 46 children bound for Philadelphia to the city's train station on February 24th, the city marshal ordered them to disperse. When defiant mothers still tried to get their children aboard the train and resisted the authorities, police dragged them by the hair, beat them with clubs, and arrested them as their horrified children looked on in tears.
Wow.
The national reaction was visceral and marked a turning point in the Bread and Roses strike. President Taft asked his attorney general to investigate, and Congress began a hearing on the strike on March 2nd. Striking workers, including children who dropped out of school at age 14 or younger to work in the factories, described the brutal working conditions and poor pay inside the Lawrence mills. A third of mill workers whose life expectancy was less than 40 years died within a decade of taking their jobs. If death didn't come slowly through respiratory infections such as pneumonia or tuberculosis from inhaling dust and lint, it could come swiftly in workplace accidents that took lives and limbs. 14-year-old Carmela Tioli shocked lawmakers by recounting how a mill machine had torn off her scalp and left her hospitalized for several months.
Wow.
After the children's testimony, public tide turned in favor of the strikers for good. The mill owners were ready for a deal and agreed to many of the workers' demands. The two sides agreed to a 15% wage hike, which sounds like a lot, actually, a bump in overtime compensation, and a promise not to retaliate against strikers. On March 14th, the 9-week strike ended as 15,000 workers gathered on Lawrence Common and shouted their agreement to accept the offer. Only 5 sounded their dissent. The Bread and Roses strike was not just a victory for Lawrence workers. By the end of March, 275,000 New England textile workers received similar raises, and other industries followed suit. A century later, the echoes of the strike still reverberate in Lawrence. The city is hosting special centennial commemorations, including its annual Labor Day Festival, and Lawrence-based Small Planet Communications has developed a special curriculum for high school history students. I just think that's the coolest thing.
That's a great story.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the horrible conditions of the Industrial Revolution in our country kind of provided the seed work for our a nation of unions and organized labor.
Yeah.
So it's pretty exciting.
It is.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I mean, it sounds like it still took a little while before they were like, hey, maybe kids shouldn't
Maybe
work
0 hours a week.
Maybe
how about 0 hours
not
a week?
Working in factories at all?
Where their scalps can be removed.
I'm glad we got there eventually.
Yeah.
It sounds like for the
crazy,
most
right?
part. It's bananas.
Yeah.
But, I'm really glad we live in a country where striking is allowed.
Yes.
And we support our friends who strike.
And it still is, there's still a lot of bullshit that goes around about, punishment and firing which is illegal.
Yes.
But still happens.
Absolutely.
About even just discussing trying to form a union.
Yeah.
Amazon is a perfect example.
Absolutely.
Starbucks.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think even at Elon Musk's factories, right?
Tesla.
Yeah, there's been a lot of pushback and
absolutely. Okay, we will be right back.
Can't wait.
After this.
Welcome back to How to Survive with Danielle and Kristine. Danielle,
Kristine,
are you very excited?
I'm very excited for our guest today. On the first half of the show today, we talked about how to survive being out of a job, and now we're going to talk about how to survive being out of control.
Yes.
With Andy Richter.
Hi.
Hi,
You know
Andy.
him from Conan. He's a fabulous improv comedian. You just know him from a million
So
things.
many things.
And we're excited to have you,
Olsen
Andy.
Twins movie. That's always.
Is that true?
Yeah, New York Minute. The Olsen Twins studio feature film debut and final film.
How old were they at this point?
I think they were like 18 or 17
Okay,
or
so-
something. So what the problem is that they got a studio film right when their audience was ready to move on from
Yes.
them.
Okay.
Because they had everything they'd done before was all kind of self-produced and home video sales and was gigantic.
Yes.
And then this just kind of
I don't know
fizzled.
anything about this movie, but this is what I'm going to guess.
Yes.
Their parents die, leaving them a fortune, and you're their lawyer.
No.
No? Okay.
No, it's much. Oh, it's actually one of the things that could possibly get me canceled.
The movie itself?
Yeah, because they play. I mean, I don't even remember what the deal is with them. I think Mary Kate who I think is kind of the wild one, and then Ashley, who's like the buttoned up one, which I think they are kind of like that.
Okay.
Like one of them is more sort of,
They both just look like dirty hippie
One
girls.
of them's like Fiona Apple-ish and sort of
Yes.
dark energy,
Yes.
like eyeliner.
Yes.
Is that the one that's with like the much older
yeah, that's
French
the one that's
woman?
married to the
Yeah.
old guy. And I
Yeah.
think that's Mary Kate. And then Ashley was just kind of more like, I think a better student and kind
Okay.
of more just shyer and everything. I mean, they both were fantastic. They both were really nice people.
Good.
And amazing because I think they were 17 at the time, and they were not at all 17. They would go between being like 50 and 9.
Right.
I mean, because they would like because they had like people working with them who were like they weren't their family, but they were like, they obviously were, there was like a lot of crossover between personal and business
Their handler.
relationship. And they would just on set, like in between things, they would just lie in a pile with these women that worked for them, / supported / loved and cared for them.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And
so weird.
and but then when it came,
giant coats,
but
just
then
covering them.
yes, but then when work was around, they were like cigar chomping showbiz pros, just like always knew their shit, never made you wait, never anything, like total pros. Fun and polite and nice and friendly, So yeah, I got no
But
thing with them.
what might get you canceled?
What might get me canceled is that the whole story, it's like a madcap romp through supposedly New York, actually Toronto.
Right.
And I think one of them like sneaks away from town to go to a concert, like one of those like 311, one of those like snotty punk pop bands. I think it was a 311 concert. Is that is a band, right?
Yes, I think so.
And the other one follows her, like, so, and they get into all kinds of hijinks and stuff. And at some point, they switch bags, and the bag has, like, I don't even remember. Oh, it's like a disc that has tons of pirated DVDs on it.
Okay.
And I play the adopted son of the head of the Chinese mafia in New York City. So I was raised speaking Mandarin.
No.
And so I speak English and I was instructed to and encouraged to like a Charlie Chan accent.
No.
Throughout the entire movie, I speak with the most offensive Asian accent. And it was also kind of, it's stunning to me that I didn't say, this is a terrible idea. This is insulting and bad because it was like, at that time, like I knew like if I was to say adopt an African-American patois, that would be offensive.
Yes.
Like, you knew that.
But to say, but to do like a Charlie Chan Asian voice, I thought, well, come on, that's comedy.
Yeah.
So you didn't get a dialect coach.
No.
You just watched Breakfast at Tiffany's.
I just did.
And you're like, I'll do what he did.
Exactly. I just did that. I mean, it wasn't. I still tried to do it. I didn't do it like you said, Breakfast at Tiffany's. I'm better than Mickey Rooney.
You didn't have buck teeth.
No, I didn't have buck teeth. But yeah, it's it's like a where you put the disc, that kind of thing.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see this.
So yeah,
I'm dying.
And like I say, I look back on it, and I'm like, my only defense is like, it's the way it was written, and they told me to, and we still kind of didn't know that yet. I mean, it's like, they hired Hank Azaria to play a poo, and it took them, 30 years to go like, hey, this isn't right.
Right, yeah.
So
I guess the context, it makes sense.
Precisely, but it's
it's
not
done for humor, so it doesn't.
Not
right,
really,
but also,
because the born son of the head of the Chinese New York Mafia wouldn't speak with an accent.
He would be educated.
He'd have like a Lower East Side accent,
That's amazing. I'm renting that movie ASAP. Okay, but
it's not really. Fast forward just to my scene.
I will.
Yeah.
That was the plan all along.
Yeah. But
the reason you're here today is to talk about a time that you were not in control. You lost control. What is the story?
This is, it was when I was in Chicago, and it was kind of, there was, I went to my last 2 years in college were in Chicago at Columbia College.
Okay.
Studying film. And then I worked in film production for a while. And then so it's kind of this overlap from getting out of college into film production into improv.
Okay.
So my like my circle of friends was, I mean, I was working film production at the time because there was a party that a friend of mine invited to, a guy that I worked with in film production. We're both production assistants, and he said, "Hey, my friend's throwing this party. He lives in this loft, and and I'm going to be there." And so I went to this party, and I went with and it was the kind of party, bring as many people as you want.
Oh, okay.
Kind of party, because I think maybe they charge at the door or something.
Oh.
And it's in this loft space, and it's like artsy guys. It's like,
every time I hear loft, I'm like,
yeah.
oh, shit.
It was like, and I mean, and it wasn't, it also, too, like, arty guys living in a loft wasn't a cliche at that point.
Oh, okay.
It was still, we're talking probably 1989.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
ahead of the curve.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, it was this old industrial space that these guys had just kind of put up drywall partitions, and I don't know how many of them lived there, but I think they were Art Institute of Chicago students. And I went with my best friend and roommate at the time, Tommy Blatcha, who is one of the funniest people I've ever known in my life. He was a Conan writer.
Oh.
He was, for people who are old Conan fans, the gaseous wiener. He would come out in a hot dog suit and fart. It was the kind of level we were working at back then.
Sure. Was this in New York? The New York show?
This is in New York. This is, yeah. And I started there, and he came on a couple years. No, maybe within a year after
Wow, that's
I
really
started.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't say like I got him the job, but I got him the introduction to the job, because nobody there got hired just because somebody said so.
Right.
You had to have a
the
good
goods.
packet. Yeah. So,
Oh, I know. I've tried. I've tried wielding my influence, and it's done nothing.
Yes. But he he was he's just a brilliantly funny guy. But so Tommy at the time was just my funny roommate and friend. We had met in film school.
Okay.
And Tommy also was like I'm a good boy and Tommy's a bad boy.
Oh, okay.
And so we're at this party and had really a really great time. Both of us really drunk. And at one point, I went into their bathroom, which was, whatever this place was, whatever light manufacturing place this was, it had a workplace bathroom.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It
so
was
stalls.
like 3 or 4 stalls, 3 sinks, 2 or 3 urinals, fluorescent lighting. And I went into one of the stalls and started peeing, and there was a shelf, like kind of like, it was like a false wall or something. So up above where all the toilets were, there was a kind of a shelf, and there were all these like art books, like big art design books, because these guys are all artists. And so I'm in the stall peeing, and Tommy came in seconds after me, and I'm still peeing, and all of a sudden he starts going like, "You want something to read?" and starts tossing books in. Like they're big, like coffee table, expensive art books. And like one's in the toilet and one's on the floor. And they're like hitting me in the head, and I'm peeing all over them. And then and I'm just like, I'm giggling, like incapacitated, going, stop. And he takes, and then he takes the toilet tank lid and drops that in. Like, he didn't throw that in,
Tommy.
but he dropped it in, and I don't know, one of them broke. Either it hit the toilet tank that I was using or whatever, and a toilet tank broke. And and it was a mess. And it was like all these art books on the floor, some in the toilet, and peed on. And
I'm just going to pause it here because, look, I know you're not supposed to blame the victim and all that stuff, but you don't put expensive art books in your loft bathroom and invite a bunch of people over who you know are going to be drunk.
Yeah, I
Lock those in your bedroom.
Right, I know.
These
I
are
know.
arty boys, though.
These are arty boys, and we were all very young. So that's the sort of thing
That's
that
what I'm saying. You
I
gotta
think the
expect
next
that.
party they probably put away
Right.
their arty
And you know who
books.
paid for those arty books is their parents.
Right,
Well, that's
exactly.
true.
So they're
Okay.
like, no,
Yeah,
these
yeah.
don't mean anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no, if it's like, because, well, continuing with the story.
All right, so he's dropping toilet lids.
We leave, and I mean, we were drunk enough that it was like, and it was late, and it was right. It was kind of like that was going to be the pee before hitting the road.
Pee before the storm.
Yeah. So I come out of the bathroom, and I think someone else had been in there while this was all happening, and I feel like we had a third friend that was kind of laughing and goading us on.
So you were throwing books too?
No. I was
Okay.
just no. I mean, and that doesn't. I'm not saying like. I'm blameless because I could have. I could have.
You were just laughing.
Yeah. And like I say, I was incapacitated with giggling because it was just so stupid. And and also like, there's just something about young men at that age that is so destructive, and I mean, we had a party once that involved. D-R-U-G-S. And it was just as drunken, stoned, and I don't know what it was like. It wasn't cocaine, but it was like some sort of hallucinogenic. And we had a party, and we trashed our own apartment. Like we were like I was in my briefs throwing our chairs around the room, still within control of like not breaking windows.
Okay.
Like knowing like I'm gonna throw it away from the window.
Right.
But still trashed our own apartment and then went to bed and like woke up the next morning like, oh my, what is wrong with us? Just like, it looked like a movie, like an apartment had been tossed by the FBI. And so there's just this dumb destructiveness at that age anyway that you just kind of have to age out of, I think. And so I get out of the bathroom, and I think someone has gone and told on us. Oh. Because I get out of the bathroom, and the guy that was like the best friend of the person, my contact of the party, who didn't show, I think he was sick or something, comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, man, what, you guys fucked up our bathroom?" And I was like, "It wasn't me." He said, "Oh, but my friend told me." He goes like, "Look at this." And he kind of like went in and looked, and he was like, "What the fuck, man?" He's like, "What would you do?" And I said, I was like, I don't have any excuse other than the fact that I didn't do it. And he said like, "So who did?" And I was like, "I would prefer not to say." and I look, and it's like kind of it's a long walk, and I just see as I'm being harassed, Tommy like stumblingly walking out and down the stairs,
right? To his escape.
Yes, and this guy, he's just really, like really frustrated because he's not going to hit me,
right?
And
he's an art student.
Yes,
right.
And I mean, and they were mad. Like, and his roommates at this point, there's like 3 guys saying things to me, and I'm a large person, so and that has prevented me from getting into physical trouble a lot in my life, but I am not a fighter. I'm not like, I don't,
Right.
I'm sure I could tap into some sort of deep trauma related rage if I was challenged, but it's not my thing. I've never found anything
worth
hitting somebody over,
Right.
So I am not a fighter, and I'm just completely like, I'm really sorry. I know what a mess it is, but because I wasn't going to rat out Tommy, but I was like, but all I can say is like, I was just in the stall and all the stuff was raining in on me. I didn't do it. And they're like, "It's uncool, dude." And I'm like, "I'm sorry." And then just kind of like, dude, kind of just, went out. And got into my car, which I should not have been driving, obviously. Got into my pickup. I had a Toyota pickup truck. And I got into the truck, and Tommy is nowhere to be seen. And I'm like, that fucker. He totally ditched out on the whole scene and this now trying to, and I start driving. It's like a little Chicago street. I start driving and I just see Tommy pop up between 2 parked cars where he had been violently vomiting. And he's so like, I pull up, and it was cold. It was
He deserved
wintertime.
that.
And
Yeah.
he gets in, and he's like, oh man, I was just puking like crazy back there. And I was like, I said, do you know what happened? He's like, what? What happened? I said, those guys caught me about that bathroom. And he was like, Oh no, I didn't know. He said, like, I just knew I had to throw up. And I wanted to get out of there. Like, but he was present enough to know, like, that bathroom is not the place to throw up right now.
It's a mess in there. I'd rather throw up on the street.
So, and I did feel bad. I felt like, I felt really guilty.
Yeah.
And I think Tommy did a little bit, but not, like Tommy has done much worse in his life, and in pursuit of a good time, not out of evil.
Right.
So I get home, and like my phone rings because there's no cell phones at this point.
Right.
And it's my friend who is livid, and who I think he had a baby at the time, like who had been woken up at like whatever it was, 4:00 in the morning by his friend saying, your friend that you invited to the party trashed our bathroom. And he's like, you got to make this right. And I was like, oh, okay. And we didn't have any money at the time. So, like, he gives me the guy's number. And I don't think I called him back the next day. But I did call him and say, how much do you want for the damages? Which Tommy was like, don't do that. What are you doing? Why would you do that? Just, let it slide. They don't know where I know. But
Tommy.
I know Tommy, but
I can't believe you pulled all your weight and got him that job on Conan.
But he, but I don't think I ever sent the guys any money because I never had any
How would
money.
you? Right.
And it had to be 4 or 5 months later. Tommy and I remember we were getting pink versions of the ComEd bill, the electrical bill.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting the pink ones for non-payment, So we're days away from having our electricity shut off.
Which is good in the winter in Chicago.
Yeah. And I got paid for a film job, and I cashed the check, and I had cash, and I was going to go down to one of the Con Ed offices and pay for our electric bill the next day. And, that was all planned. And Tommy gave me his half, and I had, it was like a couple of $100 or something in my pocket. And when we went to our neighborhood tavern, like we're just like, let's go have a drink. And also because, I had money now.
Yeah.
So we can go have a drink.
Right.
And we show up, and there's the 3 of the guys that own that apartment. And I mean, it's them and maybe 2 other people in the whole bar.
Oh, shit,
They're
so you
sitting
can't
right
hide.
by the front door, and we go in, and they're like, well, hello. And I was like, oh, man. And I was, and they were actually they were like, hey, you never paid me back for this. And I don't remember what the amount was. It was, whatever it was.
It didn't matter because you weren't going to pay them anyway.
Right. And I mean, I couldn't afford to pay him anyway. And they were like, but I had to pay him from my electricity money.
Oh, gosh.
I gave them money, and they were like, thanks, all right, no problem. And then I think they bought us a drink. It was very and they said, and we're like, and I just remember at one point saying like, Tommy and I were like, look, we're sorry, but sometimes you just fuck shit up because it's funny. And they were like, oh yeah, we know. They're like, oh yeah. They're like, I cannot say that I haven't done the same thing a number of times. Yeah. They were just like, we know what it's like to be a drunken idiot who
That's hysterical.
tosses shit around to make your friends laugh.
So the art school students and the film school students found common ground.
We found common ground.
And then you were in the dark because you didn't pay your electric bill.
I don't know. I think I borrowed like babysitting money from my sister to
my God.
pay for the electrical bill. But but it all it all worked out in the end. I mean, I don't recommend trashing people's apartments for fun, but
and did those guys ever see you on TV and say, "Hey, you didn't actually pay us enough money"?
No. I don't. Not that I remember. I think Chris, the guy that he went on. I lost touch with him. I think he moved down to North Carolina or something, and was worked in the camera department of film stuff because that was where he was going. That was what he was working towards. And I think he moved down there. And I lost touch with him after a couple of years. But I think he was in touch after I got on TV.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of like, hey.
I bet.
That's you, right?
Right.
Yep. I mean, the day after the first show, I'm sitting at my desk in Rockefeller Center, and the phone rings. I'm like, "Hello," and I just hit the microphone.
Okay.
Sorry. The phone rings, and hello, and it's a guy from high school. Like, hey man, I was just watching TV. Was that you? yeah, that's me. But yeah, it was just this kid that I went to high school with. We were on the football team together and everything, and we got along fine. But I didn't really know him or anything.
That's amazing.
Just like, but it was like so that's you, huh? Yeah, that's me. Hey, how are you? Good. Working construction. Oh, okay. All right, well then.
Okay, say hi to your mom.
Better catch up.
So he had to call. How did he even know how to figure out how to call?
He called NBC, said, can you put, just went through switchboards.
That's amazing.
It just, it was like the late night show, the Conan show. Okay, clickety click. Late night with Conan O'Brien. Andy Richter, please. Clickety click,
Wow.
Go right through,
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh, I love it. And then didn't say anything about the show, just like, yep, saw it. One of those.
I don't think anybody. Well, and also I wouldn't want them. I wouldn't want critiques of the early shows.
Well,
I think we were there about a year, and I went in once, and there were interns in the conference room having lunch and watching the first show, and it made my eyes hurt how fucking bad it was. Just how awkward it was.
Was it?
It's terrible. It's terrible. Early on the show, like we just didn't know how to be on TV yet. And in the first show, we were just talking about just endlessly. It seemed like shut up about it. Like, going, can you believe it?
just too
We're on TV. No, this is crazy.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I watched it. I was obsessed with the show, so I thank you
Yeah,
for
me too.
years and years of entertainment.
I loved it from the first moment I saw it.
Yeah.
You were my first celebrity sighting when I moved to LA.
Oh, really?
I saw you at Whole Foods. This was so many years ago. And
Which Whole Foods?
The one on 3rd in Fairfax.
Yeah.
And because
that was I lived over in that neighborhood for 11 years, and that was our Whole Foods for, yeah.
I mean, the worst parking lot in America?
Yes.
I didn't know yet because, I was very new here. And I saw Andy, and then I saw RuPaul. But not, just regular RuPaul.
Sure.
But I was like, I'm in Whole Foods with Andy Richter, and I don't know what to do. Like, it was so exciting. Because when you first move here, you aren't used to seeing, people that you've seen on TV in regular spaces, and it's very...
Look at you shopping at Whole Foods your first day in town.
Oh, I mean, I couldn't afford
crazy.
it, but I was like...
Right.
Still can't
Whole
afford
Foods.
Right. No, Whole Foods is like, if you're going to waste money on something, that's the place to do it.
Andy, thank you so much for coming
you're welcome.
in, for telling us the
fun.
story.
It was fun.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
I guess the moral is just,
just get through your early 20s.
Yeah, get through or just be a little wiser about your trashing of things. Like, don't make it so obvious,
That's a good point.
Be a little more stealth, maybe.
But you guys manned up in the end. I mean, you could have run out of that bar.
We did. Well, I've always, whenever I'm face to face with somebody, like I can't, I'm like, oh, okay, let's deal with it. I don't know. It's not in me to go like, I got to get out of here.
Right.
It's just like, oh, you saw me. Oh, hi.
You caught me.
You still did the right thing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
And you were
Great
hilarious.
story.
Thank you.
And we will be right back with what did we learn today? Kristine?
Yes, dear.
Are you ready to learn? Did you call me dear?
I think so.
Ew.
I'm sorry. Let's scratch it. I'll never call you dear
No,
again.
it's fine. Are you ready to learn what we learned today?
Yes.
Want to strike? Better have good credit.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Budget and put yourself in a preservation mode.
I'm always in preservation mode.
Happy couple on a trail? Are they freshly proposed or pre-murdered?
You can never tell.
Bad Sister. It's Bad Sisters, isn't it?
I think it's Bad Sisters.
Bad Sisters is an Apple TV series that follows the Garvey sisters who are bound together by the death of their parents and promise to always protect each other. You should watch it. It's really good.
Sharon Horgan.
Oh, Sharon Horgan! I was wrong. You were right. The Titanic indeed sunk during sepia times, April 14th through 15th, 1912.
Yes.
Jane Ashley Olsen and Roxy Ryan marry Kate Olsen. Jane and Roxy
Oh, no.
are teenage Long Island twins who find themselves on numerous misadventures when they trek into Manhattan on a school day. While the studious Jane intends to give an important speech in hopes of winning a scholarship, the more relaxed and carefree Roxy wants to track down her favorite New York City rock group.
Oh, my God. It's so cheesy.
Trailing behind them, however, is Max Lomax,
Max Lomax?
Eugene Levy, their school's obsessive truant officer.
I can't
Boy,
wait.
Schitt's Creek
winner.
really turned things around for that guy. What?
Sounds like a winner.
It does sound like a winner. I think I'm going to have to watch it. All right. Well, that's all for today. And Happy New Year. And as always, remain calm.